Coming up today, find out how we are nearly sizing and sorting 4 million of these potatoes every year ready for our planting. And also we're finishing off with our planting in the greenhouses. So we're back, weather's grim. We had nearly 25 mil over the weekend. Can't do any more planting. So we're back in the tunnels. These are the last two of the organic tunnels. And yeah, you can see lovely ground. No problems about worrying about the rainfall in here. It's all nice and dry. So these are the last two we're getting done. Again, these will hopefully be lifted just before we start harvesting the outdoor ones. I'll get you some clips of me opening up the ridges and then hopefully a bit of closing. Then we'll also see, hopefully get you a bit of the sorting process. So I'll show you some of that as well when we stand in the shed and do the sizing and knocking off the shoots. So yeah, get all that done. Yeah, hope you enjoy the video. See now all that the greenhouse has been planted. The seed we're using today, these are called number 2s. As I mentioned before, I'm going to try and in this video talk a bit about the standing process. That's the sizing and sorting of how we get the potatoes to be like this and have this dominant shoot at the top. You'll see these are clear, these potatoes, these are organic, so we can't put any seed treatment on them. And yeah, we use slightly bigger seed in these greenhouses. The bigger seed has a bit more guts, and we find for the organic crop it does a bit better. You'll see us in the previous videos we've been planting the smaller seed, the number 1s or even the loose. We find the number 2 seed has a bit more, say, guts about them, and they can usually do a better job and to grow to a better crop for the organic greenhouses and fields. So now I'm going to go up and down and we'll get a few clips of me re-ridging and putting the ground back over the seed potatoes.
So what you'll also see is it's quite they're quite tight in these little polytunnels. It's quite tricky doing right against the edge and right into the corner, so we do slightly knock the ridges, but what we do is I do the best I can, try and work to every corner possible. You do get the odd spuds that get knocked out, but afterwards we finish planting and I've tried to close as much as I can. The guys will come along and we'll just pass a little bit of ground down the side to recover the ridges which are too close to the hoops, and then also just tidy up the ends. Its space is a premium. Every bit of this greenhouse is worth planting because these should recoup a very high price when we come to sell them at the start of April, so it's worth the time for the guys to go around and tidy them all up. Sheds behind us, as you can see, this is where all of our seed potatoes are stored in a variety of rows and all these big pallets, and this is all of our basically seed potatoes we're going to be planting over the course of the next few months, and it's where all the sizing and sorting process takes place. And if we come through here, we'll see Almart, who's doing it now. Our goal is at the end to have a potato like this. This is a Jersey Royal seed potato. This is a size number 1, and it's got multi-shoots on it, and that is the whole process of what we're trying to do with our seed potatoes, is to get them to multi-shoot. That then means they will emerge out of the ground quicker, earlier, and then they'll be able to produce a crop quicker than other types of potato. And that's all of our biggest thing we try and do with our Jersey Royal crop, is to produce an early crop of potatoes, an early crop of salad potatoes, to try and beat the UK market. It's a bit like a competition, I suppose, but we have got very high growing costs in Jersey, so to make it worthwhile us growing potatoes on the island, we have to try and make ourselves a bit unique and a bit different to potatoes grown in the UK. And our goal is, if we can try and have potatoes in the market, in the marketplace, in the supermarkets from April onwards, that gives us that competitive edge and a premium price because we're early. So, as I just said, this is what we're trying to plant at the moment. It's got a multi-shoot. The seed all started off in these boxes here. And if we look over here, these potatoes here, these have not been stood yet. These are all still loose. These were all harvested last summer. So you can see they've only got one shoot at the moment. They're all stood, stacked up, 3 pallets high. There's 48 of these wooden boxes on a pallet, and they've been stored in here since since early summer, since about July, August time. They've been stored at basically ambient temperature, and then what happens is a shoot will then grow, like I just shown you, and you can see these trays here ready for Almart to stand. The shoot is growing. He's then got a variety of loose potatoes. He's tipping them out onto his table here. Then he's doing a sizing process. So he's knocking the shoot off. So basically knock that shoot off, and that is then going to encourage the potato to multi-shoot and put out more eyes, multiple eyes hopefully, which then it means it will sprout more and produce more stalks, which will then produce more potatoes when they get planted into the field. We're going into 1, 2, 3, you can see 4 sizes, plus also we do a few loose as well. He hasn't got any loose yet, but we do about 4 sizes. So size number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then we can, why it's so important to have the different sizes is it then helps with our planting densities and when we're planting them in the field. We want a really even, uniform crop of potatoes when we come to harvest, because customers or whoever we're supplying, they want certain size of potatoes, and by sizing our seed, it then enables us to plant them the same spacing. So we want a nice even planting density when we come to plant them. If we had a whole variety of size number 4s and size number 1s, it'd be very difficult to manage the planting of it. So we'd have sometimes big gaps, small gaps, and if we're planting our seed very far apart, that's when you get bigger potatoes when you come to harvest them. We want multiple small tubers, so that's why having them sized out means we can then plant them easier. As I mentioned in a few videos of the planting you've seen so far, we actually just very simply use the box as a guide when we're in the field to how many we plant per box. Number ones, we'll plant about 5 of these to a box. Number twos, it's usually about 4, and it can vary according to the size of the potato. But that's what we use, just very simply use the box to decide how far apart we plant. We're standing roughly around about 60,000 of these trays every year. We're doing less than we used to do, purely just because of costs. Costs are rising on our inputs, and we can't afford to stand every potato anymore. We get the best yields if we stand every potato. But unfortunately, it just doesn't, our costs are spiraling, and we've got to find ways of saving. So now for some of our later planted Jersey Royals, we're digging them, harvesting them into bins, and then we're putting them in the fridge and the cooler, and we're bringing them out in starting from now, ready that they'll be planted in the end of March. So I'll go and show you a bit of where the storage is and where we store the trays once they've been stood. So as I mentioned before, there's a couple of lines here. These have not been stood yet. So these have just been stored here since I say early summer, and then some of these lines have now all been stood, and you'll see they're all now. It's a little bit dark in it at the moment, but the shoots are just little sprouts on the top there. The eyes just starting to form. It's been a funny year. We can alter the shoot length and how long the shoot get by using lights. This year so far, it's been quite slow for sprout growth. The shoots are growing very slowly, so we've actually cut back on the amount of lights we can use. But if we go through to this shed over here, you'll see we've got a lot more lights in here because these potatoes are ready to be planted. They should be being planted this week. You can see here. So these lines are all ready. They should be going out into the field. They're about perfect. They've got nice shoots on now. They're all ready to go. But the weather is grim. We've had a lot of rain. We had 23 mil Sunday night. We must have had another 30 mil today. Won't be doing anything. So we've got as many lights on as possible in here, trying to restrict shoot growth, because if the shoots get too long, then it means when we come to plant them, they can be damaged easier. And if you go and knock off, a shoot like that gets knocked off, it's going to delay the crop emerging, and it'll probably delay it by about 2 weeks. So we don't want to have that. So we're trying to maximise the amount of light in here to control the shoot growth. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, next week looks really dry. All of these will be being planted next week. And you can see here, there's 50 on a pallet, nearly 50 on a pallet, and then there's more through here. These have all just been stood. They've got no eyes at all yet. These will be planted in about probably a month's time, 5 weeks time, and the shoots are going to start growing nicely. And then here, that is the main part of the shed. It goes all the way through down there. None of these yet have been sorted, so we've got to sort all of those potatoes behind me. Have got to be sorted over the following month, 6 weeks. But we can do that with the guys when we're not planting. It provides jobs for the people to do when we have got no work, because obviously this week's quite a wet week. Although we have got our cauliflowers we're still picking, and a few wet day jobs, it helps provide us with the staff with something to do, and it keeps them busy basically. So it does work quite well. We're now back to a couple more guys coming on tomorrow or early next week. Monday they should be here. So I'll have around about 18 Filipinos ready to start planting, and all of our other drivers are back as well. So we're full team from Monday, so we should have a good week ahead. This is then Dad getting the next pallet of seed. We gradually basically take it away from that big pile, and then it'll get sorted as we go. It's always a bit of a pain when we haven't planted that much yet. This is how busy the fullest the shed will be over the course of the next week or so. So that'll now go off and give them to the guys to start sorting. yeah, thanks for watching today. Hope you all enjoyed it. Yeah, hopefully a bit of information about the site, that's kind of the standing and sorting process we do. Again, very unique to us in Jersey, a little bit quirky, but it seems to work for us, and it's what people have done for generations really. It's pouring with rain again as we speak, so it's looking less and less likely we'll be doing anything this weekend. It's probably going to need a couple of days to dry out before we can get going again. But yeah, all the greenhouses are now in as well, if you've just seen. So yeah, hopefully it'll warm off a bit and they'll start growing nicely. So I'll see you all for the next video on Sunday.